Welcome to Rockhampton with Nyree Johnson, the podcast that celebrates the people, places, and stories that make Rocky and the wider central Queensland community extraordinary. I firmly believe we're sitting on a golden goose in this region, and I love meeting the people who are doing the quiet work behind the scenes to keep the community thriving. They run our sports clubs, they organise our charities, they support the people who are lost in the system, and they volunteer their time so generously. And I feel like the luckiest person in the world when someone shares their story with me privately. And now I'm privileged to bring their stories and achievements to you, the listeners of Rockhampton with Nyree Johnson. Sometimes they wonder why they were asked, thinking that what they're doing and what they've done is not that big of a deal. And I can hand on heart tell you that it absolutely is. Other times, my guests are ecstatic to be asked and they look forward to sharing a piece of their Rocky and Central Queensland story. Thank you for listening in. I truly appreciate you being here. Today's guest is Tammy Dorset. Tammy is a Rocky local. She is a school teacher at a local primary school and is heavily involved in Relay for Life that happens locally here in Rocky every year. So Tammy is part of a Relay for Life team, and for around about 15 years, she's been involved in this very important charity and organisation. And very soon, Tammy's Relay for Life team has a charity ball coming up, which I'm super excited about because I love a good old ball. And we're going to dive a little bit today into Tammy's story, her journey, life in Rocky, of course, and all about this ball and how we can get involved as a community. So thank you so much for joining me, Tammy.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
You are very welcome. Thanks for making the time. It is the school holidays. We're doing this recording. You are a school teacher, so carving out your precious break to jump on here and talk about your ball is fantastic. So before I get really stuck into the questions, though, I would like to ask you, if you could be an expert at anything at all in the world, what would it be and why?
Is a really hard question for me because I have interests and hobbies they're very diverse. Obviously, cancer would be great to be, learning more about, research, how we can support things like that. But my interests are very diverse. They can start with kids and what I do in my job to fundraising to craft. I'm, very diverse in everything that I want to learn.
I love that. I love that. I guess you could be an expert in whatever you're focused on that day, be an expert in that.
Definitely that day. Yes, my
Yeah.
focus can move quite quickly as well.
I completely resonate.
Yeah.
Absolutely resonate. I got a cricket recently and I would like to be an expert in cricket craft, but that will change in a week or two or three. So
I've
completely
done that
different.
phase with the
Yeah.
cricket. Yes. That phase for a little while and it's still in the cupboard and it's always in the back of the mind of going, I would really love to do that, or you see a great idea.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't eventuate. I do move pretty quickly with things.
Oh, I love that though. It's a great way to live life, really. But tell us a little bit about Tammy. So tell us about the roots and influences you've had across your life, key moments, people, experiences. Essentially, what's shaped you into being who you are today?
Well, I grew up on a cattle property, so I was homeschooled or distance education until the end of year 10, which was great. Got to enjoy, the best of life, horse riding, motorbike riding, living that kind of dream. I went to Yeppoon for the last couple of years, come to Rocky, started university, met my husband. Yeah, we moved away for a little while, then came back to Rockhampton. So yeah, Rocky's kind of been the base point for me. Yeah, when my children started school, I really got interested in that type of area and starting to be a teacher. So it kind of feels like that's my life at the moment is if I'm not doing some form of fundraising, I'm working. So yeah.
Yeah, can relate to that approach to life. So your journey with Relay for Life, what's inspired that? Was there a turning point in your world where you kind of went, you know what, I'm going to get involved with Relay for Life. I'm going to be in a team and we're going to raise some money and we're going to make a difference for the Cancer Council.
It actually started with a school team. I was working at at the school where my children were, and we got children involved. That for relay became a little bit more difficult as the years went on, and it was just a friends, family group. I did it for probably 3 or 4 years prior to myself getting cancer. So then it kind of did take on a bit of a different, more personal spin then. Um, yeah, and then after I started my cancer journey, my dad got cancer and then he passed away as well. So we've really, it has become quite a personal thing of connecting that money to where it really does help.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is such an important cause and event that happens annually every year in Rocky. I myself was a member of a team for about 10 years, was the captain for a couple of years as well. It started as a gym team. I used to go to the university gym and a bunch of us put a team together and it was a lot of fun. And then similar sort of story, have never had cancer, just skin cancer, which is very, very mild. But my grandmother got cancer in the middle of our teen journey, and it took a completely different turn then, and it's almost like it went from a heck of a lot of fun to a very serious, "Oh my goodness, we need to do something about this. We need to raise money for the Cancer Council because they're helping the people that are going through this, they're helping the carers." Can absolutely relate to that pivot that happened for you where it started as a bit of a fun and a community initiative, and then it got really personal, so well
It
done for 15
does make
years.
that.
Well done to you for 15 years and still going and still giving it
It's
your all.
yeah, and because it's taken on so many different teams, different types of people who have come and joined the team or left the team, or it has been different every single year. So,
Mm,
yeah, it's been exciting. It's been fun. We're back to overnight this year for relay. So
fantastic.
yeah, it's been a few years because we were doing 10 to 10, so we're back to 2 to 8 in the morning. And so it'll be a longer haul. Well, not longer, but it feels like it when it's overnight.
Yeah,
So we'll yeah, back to sleepovers.
that's fantastic. Our, local scouts, our Ventura Scouts, so they're the 15 to 17-year-olds that we have that span from Yeppoon to Gracemere and Rocky. They've done, I think this is their second or third year for 2026. They just decided to get involved and have been raising some money, and they've been doing a fantastic job. Of course, I'm involved with Scouts, and normally the date's been clashing, but I think I might, if it's back to being overnight, I might end up back out there and I'll be donning a Scout uniform this year instead of a team uniform.
For the children
Mm,
to get involved, and for kids to see, fundraising isn't just selling raffle tickets. It can be important, and it's not. I mean, I love relay so much. It's like Christmas for me. It's my favorite time of the year. But it's good for them to see, like you said, you're going to the candlelight ceremony. It takes on that meaning for them that, we're selling raffle tickets or we're doing money boards or we're doing this stuff, but just you've got that connection and the kids can see that connection and they can feel it.
yeah,
So it
and the
is really
personal,
important. Yeah,
absolutely, that personal impact and those ceremonies are very moving.
absolutely.
Especially when, you've got the candles and the paper bags and you write the names of the people that you've lost over the years to cancer, and it's very, very moving.
Just looking around and seeing the bags light up when you're walking that lap, and it's just glowing, and you know that on every single one of those bags is a person's name who's been affected. It's an experience, that's for sure.
No, yeah, I'm very excited that it's back to overnight, so I think I will mark that in my calendar and toddle along with my Ventura Scouts.
Yeah.
So tell me, Tammy, what is your team name? And you've got a really big fundraiser coming up in February, so talk to us a little bit about that.
50 Shades of Purple is the team name. So the fundraiser we've got happening at the moment, so it's a first for us. We do a lot of smaller events or smaller fundraising, but we've decided to give a charity ball a go. And we've got quite a big team of people who are all coming together and doing different parts of the organising. We've got some great donations and things like that and support. So yeah, February the 14th, charity ball at the Leagues Club. So it should be exciting. And yeah, fingers crossed it all comes together well and everyone enjoys a wonderful night and we can do it again.
Yes, I am very excited for that ball and yet to get my tickets, but I'm pretty sure I checked my calendar and I'm available that night. trying to rope
Mm.
friends in to come with me. We love a good ball, but I think they've got clashes and things like that. So anyway, nevertheless, if I'm available, I will absolutely be there. So, and I was reflecting as well. I used to be a massive supporter of as an attendee, of course, of the Black Dog Ball, which hasn't been around in Rocky for a couple of years. That committee did a solid job for, I think, about 10 years. And it'd be really awesome. Of course, you don't want to replace something that was amazing, but, you're bringing another option because the Black Dog Ball doesn't happen at the moment. And, let's all jump on board with Relay for Life. Because even though the money goes towards your team, it actually goes to the greater cause, which is the Cancer Council of Queensland. So very, very important.
Definitely, and that helps. The Cancer Council Queensland help so many people, and it's not just people who are going through cancer, it's their families, money towards finding a, well, I won't say cure, but finding, different ways of curing because we don't have, there's not just one cancer.
Mm,
It's quite a diverse thing that they're trying to, diverse problem they're trying to solve. But I know so many, like when I was going through treatment, there were people from, Barcaldine and Longreach who were staying at the Cancer Council units up on Upper Dawson Road, and that's, funded by people who are fundraising. So that gives them the opportunity to come in so that they can have their treatment. Otherwise, that would have come at a cost of motels. They had volunteers there driving cars so that they could drive them to treatment. So there's so many ways that the Cancer Council helps people and families experiencing cancer. Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, you think there's not a lot, but there's quite a lot of ways that they do support people.
yeah. And it's all that quiet work that happens behind the scenes, hey, because nobody is standing on a street corner waving a sign saying, I've got cancer or I drove someone to their treatment today. It's just that quiet work that happens behind the scenes when people really need it, when people are really vulnerable. And the money that your team raises and the whole of the Rockhampton community raises for Relay for Life or during that event, sorry, it all goes towards that. No one's making money here. It's
No,
all going
that's
to the
exactly right.
Cancer Council. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's so important. Yeah.
No, fantastic. Well, yeah, that ball, if you're listening and you're keen to kick into the 2026 year with a heck of a lot of fun, I would encourage people to jump on and get a ticket. When do tickets close?
It'll be only a couple of days before. We'll keep them open right up
Yep.
until unless they sell out. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got the shortfall coming to support the entertainment for the night. We'll have an auction happening, so that'll be great. Raffle, lucky draw. So it will be, yeah, a lot of fun. And yeah, Valentine's Day.
Yep,
That'll
no
be,
presents needed. Just get 2 tickets to the ball and have fun.
yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly right. Yes.
So
Hint, hint
today
to all the men out there.
Yes, yes, absolutely agree. So today's the 20th of January, and the ball is on the 14th of February. So we have plenty of time to get tickets. We are all over Christmas. We should have recovered by now, I'm hoping, being the 20th of January. And yeah, if we've got a little bit of extra cash, let's go along and support a fantastic cause. A little bit more about the Rocky community. Of course, Relay for Life is a big event here, but how has living in Rocky, coming from a cattle farm, like supported your journey or been a big part of your journey? You've obviously done university here, met your husband here, had your children here. What does this community mean to you?
So doing relay, doing fundraising and seeing, the need for particular things like this, I guess seeing how the community can come together. We're very lucky to have the community that we have in Rockhampton that when people see a need or they're able to give, they do. We have a very generous community.
Mm.
So we're pretty lucky here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Sometimes the community is stretched quite thin, or people in it are, but they do dig deep when it matters. Yeah, we're both very
Absolutely.
thankful for that. So, what's been one of those pivotal moments in your life? Either the biggest challenge you've ever had to overcome or a super, super proud moment? Like we do know now, thanks to listening to this, that you have been through cancer yourself. I can imagine that's a huge challenge. But is there anything else at all that's happened in your life that's really shifted your perspective or the way that you approach life?
Probably that would be the biggest challenge and losing my dad to cancer as well. That would probably have been because it was across I was still having treatment when my dad was diagnosed as well. So it was all happening at the same time. That would be the turning point for me of, I guess you change your perspective on life a little bit, look at things very differently to how you did before. Learn who's important in your life, I guess, and where you're spending your time, because we're all on borrowed time, I guess. It's yeah, we're here for a very, very short time when you look at the scheme of things and how we want to spend that time is pretty important. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such an important lesson to learn as well. And the way people do learn that lesson across their life changes, of course, depending on what people have been through. But it's great to have that perspective. It's hard how you get it, as you would
absolutely.
agree.
Definitely.
So going through all of that, it's a lot. And like I obviously know you outside of this podcast, and I watch your journey and what you achieve in your family, and you are quite an inspirational person. So I
Thank
would like
you.
to know what keeps you driving forward every day when the world wants to kick your butt and do what it's done to you and your family. What is that thing that has you getting up going, you know what, I'm going to kick today's butt? Or I'm going to achieve XYZ, or, what is that thing?
Might be a little bit of hyperactivity, potentially.
We love a good bit of
Um,
hyperactivity.
I don't really know. Like I think it is that prospect of time. I think it's scary. And I do often think, you know, I want to do all these things before I go. I want to achieve all these things, and I who knows how long I have. Who knows how long any of us have, but I want to leave like a lasting, something that means something really, that you want to be remembered to be, I don't know, have contributed in some way or have done something important. Yeah, that's a really, really tricky question. Thanks for that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
hard.
warn you. Lucky I do warn people.
Yeah,
No, it is a hard one. And to be honest, I've never reversed these questions on myself, so maybe I should do that as practice one day.
maybe. You
Yeah.
don't really want to be beaten either. Like, you don't want to be, I've never wanted to be defined by
Mm,
cancer, or that's the person who had cancer, or she does this because she's had cancer. I never wanted to be that person.
yeah.
And I don't ever want to be beaten,
Mm,
or like, you don't want it to win. Not that it's a fight against, well, it is a fight against it, but yeah, you don't want it to be that label, I guess, but that, you want to be achieving things, through life.
yeah, achieving things because you're Tammy and Tammy does this, not because you're Tammy who had cancer. Yep,
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Totally get it.
Thanks. That was rephrasing everything in a bit of a jumble, but yes, perfect.
Oh, from an outsider's perspective looking in, of course, I do know you. A podcast guest won't, but I think you've nailed it. You honestly nailed it. I don't look at what you do, what you post, where you go, and go, oh, that's because she had cancer. It's because you live a big life, a life of service. And I mean, to be honest, as a school teacher, that alone is a mammoth vocation to be in, and you just do it so eloquently, eloquently.
It's very rewarding. Like, I would have to have one of the most it's a very, very difficult job, but it is one of the most rewarding jobs. And I do feel that in my career and in my personal time, I do have that rewarding feeling in everything that I do. So, I mean, obviously not unpacking the dishwasher or things like that, but in most things, I do get a great feeling that it is a life well lived. Yes.
Yeah, that is brilliant, fantastic. I don't know how much more advice we can get out of you because you've given us such insight and wisdom already. But
Oh,
if you could pick one thing that you would share with the next generation coming along after us about life in general, or things to avoid, or a way to approach challenges, like what would be that one bit of advice that you often find yourself giving out? It might even be to the students that you teach. What's that one thing?
I would probably come back and refer to time again, that, at midnight we all get given the same amount of minutes for the next day. How we spend them is completely up to us. So, when people say, oh, I don't have time or I'm so busy, but we've all got the same amount each day. Some of us are lucky enough to keep going for another day and another day, but it is to spend those minutes how we want to spend them, and to do service with them as well, to make sure that we're giving back to people around us. Yeah, really spend our time as well as we can.
Yeah. No, I love that. Everything complements everything that you've said today so well. So thank you so much for joining the podcast and sharing a little bit about your journey and how important the Relay for Life event is to the Rockhampton community. All of the teams that are out there, I wish every single one of them the very best in their fundraising efforts. And I really do hope to be out there this year. I'm very excited that it's gone back to an overnight event. That's a very, very exciting thing. Yeah, just thank you so much for your generosity and all of the time and effort that it's going to take to put this charity ball on. It's not a small thing that you're doing, and I hope it's a very, very successful fundraiser.
Sure, it will be great. We have a great community behind us, a great group of people putting it together, lots of support. So that's all you really need for success, isn't it? A good community.
That's it. Great people surrounding you. And if anybody does want to go along to that ball, if you just jump on Facebook and search 50 Shades of Purple, you'll find the team. There's a Facebook event that you've set up as well, I believe, Tammy. So just a quick Facebook search should be able to help you find tickets to the event. And for any listeners who are really stuck and can't find tickets to the event, please just email me or message me. My socials are fairly public. So I will happily send the link to anybody who can't find it. But yeah, thank you again, Tammy. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Rockhampton with Nyree Johnson, proudly brought to you by Marketing Unagency Co., the marketing team who do things very differently and who are determined to make the world of marketing less chaotic and far clearer for small businesses and community groups.